안녕하세요, 안차키입니다. Welcome to Let's Speak Korean, where we learn some useful Korean expressions. And here to help us learn those useful expressions is 지승현 선생님. 안녕하세요, 선생님.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 지승현입니다. 다시 만나서 반갑습니다.
Now, there are times when we have to talk about an action that's complete, but where the condition of that action remains. Now, this is what we're going to be studying in this lesson. We're going to learn how to come up with those expressions. But first, let's go to the clip to find out what's going on.
민욱 씨, 여기 서 있는 사람은 누구예요?
아, 거기 서 있는 사람은 제 남동생이에요.
그 옆에 앉아 있는 사람은 누구예요?
앉아 있는 분은 어머니입니다.
여기 열려 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
그 방은 제 방이에요.
그 옆에 닫혀 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
부모님 방입니다.
여동생 방은 어디예요?
안 가르쳐 줄래요?
농담이에요.
2층에 있어요.
Michael, as we just saw, is looking at Minuk's family album. Now, he points to Minuk's brother and asks who the standing person is. He also points to a sitting person and asks who that person is. In addition, Michael and Suji look around the house. They see some rooms with their doors closed and some rooms with their doors open, and they ask whom each room belongs to. Now, Michael also asks where Minuk's sister's room is. All right, then, let's get a check of the expressions in this lesson. We'll learn how to use the phrases 아 있다 and 있다 to talk about an action that's complete but remains in effect. Now, before we get started on those expressions, let's go over some basic words that we'll need to learn them.
서다, 서다. 앉다, 앉다. 열리다, 열리다. 닫히다, 닫히다.
여기 서 있는 사람은 누구예요?
아, 거기 서 있는 사람은 제 남동생이에요.
그 옆에 앉아 있는 사람은 누구예요?
여기 열려 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
Michael points to a standing person in the photograph and asks who he is. Now, how did he pose the question?
여기 서 있는 사람은 누구예요?
Minuk answers that the person standing in the picture is his brother. Now, what was the expression he used?
거기 서 있는 사람은 제 남동생이에요.
Michael also asks about the person sitting. The question in Korean.
그 옆에 앉아 있는 사람은 누구예요?
He goes on to ask to whom the room with the open door belongs to. Let's try that expression in Korean.
여기 열려 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
So the key expression in this lesson is 아 or 있는. 선생님, what do these sentences with the word 있는 usually mean?
Okay, well, it is used to refer to completed action where the condition remains. For example, the person in a photograph and the person sitting down. The person in the photograph will certainly not be able to move, so this kind of situation is what we are talking about.
So how should we come up with the expressions then?
It is quite simple, just add 아 있다 or 있다 to the stem of the verb. One thing though is that we usually come up with these expressions with active verbs, so please don't use them for passive verbs linked to the objects by the particle 을 or 를.
Yes, we'll have to remember that. All right then, let's get some practice adding the verb stems. Now make sure that you're following after 선생님.
서다, 서 있다, 서 있다. 앉다, 앉아 있다, 앉아 있다. 열리다, 열려 있다, 열려 있다. 닫히다, 닫혀 있다, 닫혀 있다.
We'll try out practicing some full sentences now.
방 안에 서 있는 사람은 이수지 씨예요. 의자에 앉아 있는 사람은 민욱 씨예요. 도서관이 밤에도 열려 있어요. 창문이 닫혀 있어요.
Time for some extra expressions now. Michael asks Minuk where his sister's room is, but then he feels embarrassed for having asked the question and he just brushes it off as a joke. Now, the word for joke in Korean is 농담. When you want to tell someone that what you have just said is just a joke, you can say 농담이에요. Right? So it means I'm just joking. 농담이에요. Please repeat after 선생님.
농담이에요. 농담이에요.
Minuk says his sister's room is on the second floor, and the word for second floor in Korean is 2층. Now, we can use the numbers that we have already learned in our previous lessons to come up with the words for the third, fourth, and fifth floors. All right, then, please repeat them after 선생님.
1층, 1층, 2층, 2층, 3층, 3층, 4층, 4층.
But can't we use the other way to say numbers in Korean and come up with 한층, 두층, and 세층, for instance?
Well, I'm afraid that we can do that because that would have a completely different meaning. And we'd be referring to the number of stories in a building if you use that expressions, but we'll learn about that in another time.
Please remember this rule. I think it's time for us to take another look at the clip to go over the expressions one by one. Please follow along.
민욱 씨, 여기 서 있는 사람은 누구예요?
민욱 씨, 여기 서 있는 사람은 누구예요?
아, 거기 서 있는 사람은 제 남동생이에요.
아, 거기 서 있는 사람은 제 남동생이에요.
그 옆에 앉아 있는 사람은 누구예요?
그 옆에 앉아 있는 사람은 누구예요?
앉아 있는 분은 어머니입니다.
앉아 있는 분은 어머니입니다.
여기 열려 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
여기 열려 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
그 방은 제 방이에요.
그 방은 제 방이에요.
그 옆에 닫혀 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
그 옆에 닫혀 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
부모님 방입니다.
부모님 방입니다.
여동생 방은 어디예요?
여동생 방은 어디예요?
안 가르쳐 줄래요?
안 가르쳐 줄래요?
농담이에요.
농담이에요.
2층에 있어요.
이 층에 있어요.
Here is the entire clip once again, so this time try to memorize the expressions.
민욱 씨, 여기 서 있는 사람은 누구예요?
아, 거기 서 있는 사람은 제 남동생이에요.
그 옆에 앉아 있는 사람은 누구예요?
앉아 있는 분은 어머니입니다.
여기 열려 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
그 방은 제 방이에요.
그 옆에 닫혀 있는 방은 누구 방이에요?
부모님 방입니다.
여동생 방은 어디예요?
안 가르쳐 줄래요?
농담이에요.
2층에 있어요.
This is the part of our lesson where we learn some accurate Korean pronunciations. In our last lesson, we mentioned that the consonant 받침 디귿 and the vowel e, when they come together, sometimes ends up sounding like chi instead of t. Well, this time we'll find out what happens when the 받침 티읕 and the vowel e come together. Now, let's take a listen to 선생님's accurate pronunciation.
받치, 받치, 받치.
Notice that instead of the sound T, we end up with the sound chi. Now, this is the same phenomenon that happened when in our previous lesson when we got the sound chi instead of T. Now, this is called palatalization.
That's right, and this pronunciation rule also applies in the certain cases for the 받침 디귿 when it is followed by the letter he. In the case of this verb, one is active, while the one on the right has been turned into a passive verb by adding the letter he in the middle. In the case of the word 닫다, to close, we would think the passive form would be read as 닫히다, but the correct pronunciation is 닫히다.
It's time to close this edition of Let's Speak Korean. In this lesson, we learned how to attach either 아 있다 or 어 있다 to the verb stem to indicate that the condition of a completed action remains. Let's go for a quick review now. 선생님, I just got this letter.
그 편지에 뭐가 들어있어요?
사진이 들어있어요.
누구 사진이에요?
Well, it's a photograph that I took on my last holiday.
Really? You have to show it to me later?
Sure thing. All right then. Well, that is all the time we have for this lesson. So until next time, keep practicing your Korean and 안녕히 계세요.